Hi, Miss Kelly. It's nice to see you again today. Thank you for inviting me into your home again. Today, before we get started, I just wanted to summarize a little bit about what we talked about last week. And if you feel like anything is missing, just let me know and chime in whenever you want. Last week, when we met, we spoke about your family and your husband. You've been currently married for 60 years and you have two daughters. And then I asked you a little bit about why you're asking for hospice services, and you explained that you're wanting to take more control of your life in your final weeks because you're battling ovarian cancer. Um, then we talked about a little bit about some of the issues you're having that are preventing you from doing this, and we talked about your husband, your daughter, and some of the feelings you're experiencing. And then we went in to talk about some of the goals you want to work towards. Can you tell me those 3 goals that you want to work towards in these sessions?
Yeah, 3 goals things that I'd like to work towards is just to have my own voice and, to be able to state what I want to state, what I want to happen. I want my 2 daughters to reconcile because they haven't really talked in a couple of years, and I'd really like that to change before I go. And I want my husband to be okay with me passing. I want him to be able to survive when I'm gone.
To be okay and to be happy when you're gone. Going back to your first goal, can you tell me a little bit about why you don't feel like you have a voice?
Well, my husband has always been, which I love him dearly, but he's always made the decisions for us. He always made them for us and just for myself, and I've never really had a voice to share. And I think that's, it also is one of the issues why one of my daughters just isn't really speaking to my other daughter, because one of them thinks that it's okay for me not to have a voice, and one of them really wants me to have a voice. So that's an issue that, we're trying to work on. So, yeah, I guess that's the main issue, because my husband has always been my voice.
And that is actually very common for a lot of women in their 70s and 80s, because back then it was more about the man takes over, he takes control, he's out working while the women are at home. So it's very common for men to make decisions, and clearly you see that because he's making many of your decisions for you. But as you stated, you want to make those decisions now. In the past, did you see yourself a lot, though, you said you let him make a lot of the major decisions, like for your children, what they did,
Yeah, I was always okay with him making the decisions, but I guess since my ovarian cancer and having all this going on, I've just decided that there's some things that I do want to happen, and that I want to have a voice so I can make those happen.
So you want to be more independent. Okay. Well, today I want to introduce you to a process called narrative therapy. Have you ever heard of that before?
I have not.
Okay. Well, narrative therapy is basically a process that focuses on your story. So it's all about your experiences, your abilities, your talents, and we incorporate all those to help you take control of your life. But narrative therapy does bring up a lot of emotions and feelings often. And at any point, if we are talking, I just want to let you know, if you don't feel comfortable answering any of the questions, or that's something that brings out a strong emotion, you don't have to answer. But I want you to know I'm here to listen, and I'm not here to judge, and I want you to feel comfortable. How does that make you feel, that it might bring up a lot of emotions?
I think it'll be hard because I just have so much going on, right now, and I'm trying to live this happier next couple of weeks and, a month. But I think for my goals to be achieved, I need to do this. I need to do this for myself and for my family.
So you're comfortable with maybe trying this process out, and if at any point you feel uncomfortable, we can stop, we can try something new.
Yes.
Do whatever you want to do.
Yes.
Okay. So first I want to start out, can you just tell me a little bit about the story behind your name? How did you get your name?
Well, was my great aunt, and she was a really big part of my mother's life, and she basically kind of raised my mom and just had a great impact on my mother. So my mother decided that she would love me to have her name to resemble her.
So do you know any of the special qualities that your aunt possessed?
Yes, actually, because my mom talked about her all the time, and I did grow up with her around a little bit, but she was very friendly, very outgoing, and she was a very strong woman. She also actually died of cancer, so it's kind of funny. I didn't really realize that, but and she has just always been the happy-go-lucky type, and my mom was a very stressed kind of person, worrywart. So she really loved that, those qualities in her. So
that sounds like a name you can really be proud of, a strong woman that you can be proud of and look to as a role model.
Definitely.
Has your aunt passed already?
Yes.
Okay. And how are your daughters' names chosen? How did you choose your daughters' names?
Well, let's see. My daughter Olivia, she is from my husband's mother. Her middle name was Olivia. So we wanted just to honor the family name, so that's why we chose Olivia. And then when we chose Jennifer, Jennifer is on my side of the family, and she was it was my mom's middle name, and my mother's first name. So we just wanted to keep the family names intact.
So you said Olivia and Jennifer, right? Okay, if Olivia and Jennifer were asked the question, tell me a little bit about the special qualities of the people who helped in giving you your name, what do you think they would say? What do you hope they would say about the people who influenced their name?
Well, I would hope they would say that they were a part of our family, and that they were both women who had great achievements in their careers, and were great mothers to their kids because they both had kids. And also just to remember of how important their lives were in ours.
And those are things you hope. Are those things you think they would actually say right now due to the conflict and the different issues going on?
You know, that's a good point. I don't know what they would say. I'm not sure what they would say.
Okay, well maybe in further sessions you can maybe write a little bit about maybe that and think about it a little bit more, maybe write it down, and maybe we can bring it up in another session.
Okay.
But for now we'll move on and leave that topic for now. Can you tell me 3 things you do that bring you joy and meaning?
Well, I love to sew. I have grandkids, so I've sewed clothes for my grandkids. So that was I love doing that. I've also sewed them blankets, actually, that they both have in their cribs, so that's pretty
cool.
Pretty awesome, yeah. And another thing is, I think I'm a good mother, you know, and I really take pride in being a mother. You said take pride, right? And then also, I think another thing would be, I think I'm a good wife as well. I'm always listening to what my husband has to say. You know, I always take his advice, and and I think family is the most important thing to me. So I think, providing to them and helping them, and is just what I've always wanted to do.
And of those 3 things you listed, how has your illness affected the way those things bring you joy?
Well, I think it's impacted the way I look at those things, because, I look more intensely at my family and how much I love them and the good qualities they have. And, my 2 daughters, I've always let them deal their own things. But now it's just, I've really realized how important family is, and I want them to be okay before I leave. And so I think that's my, been really impacted with my disease from that.
So it's really changed your outlook on how you see your family and how you want things to go while you're still here and while you're gone. Okay. Well, as the session's coming to an end, I would just like to ask you a little bit about how you feel about this process so far. Have you been comfortable so far? Is there anything that was too pushy or that I've talked about? Or
No, I think I've been pretty comfortable so far. It's just I've realized a lot more than I have, I guess, and I think that's good.
Okay. And so as we're coming to an end, next week when we meet, I just want you to start thinking about how you want to go about resolving some of the conflict between your daughters, and if you were to speak to your husband, maybe about telling him to back off a little bit, how you would go about doing that. So maybe if you could just write it down in your journal along with the other things I asked you to write about, and then we can go about.
Okay, sounds great.
How many minutes was I at?